everybody, it's Rachel Hawkes here over at Mindful Parenting, and I wanted to come in today and speak about my new little freebie that's just for you guys. So if you have heard me talking about this workbook that is available, did I mention free? It is a free download. I thought I'd show you the workbook so you know exactly what it's about. Number one, it is 3 mindful tools to help your anxious child. So if you've got a child who is feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or the other extreme, real extreme anxiety, then what I've done is I've created a workbook for you to go through with them. Now, obviously, you don't have to download the whole thing and print it off. I have just done that to show you exactly what is involved in the workbook. You can, once you've downloaded it, just print the pages that you want. Trying to be eco-friendly here, so you know, I'm very conscious of our printing in our house and the resources that it takes. I will also, little sneak preview for you, there'll be a much bigger workbook that will follow this that is coming in the next few weeks. And I'm going to make that workbook editable online, so actually you don't have to print out anything at all. My idea behind that is twofold. One, I don't want everybody printing out pages and pages and just binning them, because you know, some of the information here is just for you to read. Also, you know, our kids like gadgets, and if we want to engage with them, it's all very well saying, you know, limit gadget time, and I get that because we're all trying to make that part of our mission as parents, that fine line of juggle. But actually, if we want to engage them in the exercises, it's nice to be able to, with some of this, have a bit of an option. And if they have got a gadget that they can edit some of these on, and they'll just be editable PDFs, so even Adobe Reader will be able to do it, then I kind of think it could be a possibility. It might not work for everybody, and some people might hate that idea, but I'm just adding it in, so you'll be able to print it out or use it online. But I wanted to talk you through what you get in this workbook. Number one, I've said this before, I will say it again, I am not a professional therapist. If your child is experiencing mental health issues, the first thing you should do is take professional advice. Wherever you are in the world, that same thing applies. You guys know, hopefully you've seen some of my other videos, the reason I'm doing all of this is because I'm speaking as a parent who also has a child with anxiety. It's more manageable now, we're kind of 3 years in, but at the beginning it felt massively overwhelming, and I had to deal with my emotions to deal with it as well as hers, and it affected our whole family dynamic. And any little tips that I think have helped us, or I know have helped us, combined with the amazing experts that I've spoken to over the last 3 years, I'm going to feed as much of that into you guys as I can, because any little thing that you can do that can help just a little bit to make your child feel better, for me, is worth a go. Okay, so as with all things with kids, some things will work really well for some things will work well for others. This is just like a little intro. These are 3 techniques that I used with my daughter. So we've got a lovely front cover. I've got a little bit about me so that you know where I'm coming from. Some of you will know me, some of you won't. And I think it's really important to trust the person that is offering you any kind of advice at all. So that's a little bit about me. And then we go down to the exercises, and there's 3 of them. So the first one is about affirmations. You guys know I love affirmations. If you haven't had a chance to download the free ones on the website, please do. They're free, they're yours. Those you can print out. In fact, I would recommend you print them out, post them on the fridge, put them in a jar, put them in a lunchbox, hand it out every morning over breakfast. However you want to use them. I've got a blog on ideas for you as well, so you're not stuck out there. But this is a slightly different approach, and this combines 2 things. It's a sheet here on affirmations, and it is a negative thought turning it into a positive thought. So this is taking it one stage further. And I liked this idea, and I've kind of grabbed it from Anne Bayetti, who I don't know whether you saw our Facebook Live. She is a counsellor, and she specialises in anxiety in children, and she talked about this idea of swapping the negative to the positive. So I haven't given an example, but I wanted to talk about that today. So a negative thought could be, I don't have any friends. So they write the negative thought down. What's a positive thought that they can replace that? And it could be something like, I am kind, I am generous, I have a lovely family, I know lots of people. Trying to swap that negative thought pattern. So as soon as that comes in, they think about the positive. As soon as that comes in, they replace it with a positive. There's a little list here, there's little boxes for them to fill out. I'm not suggesting they do it all at once. They might want to take that away and think about that. You might want to print out many of those. You might want to cut them out, however you want to use them. So I think that one works really, really well. And I also want to talk about some of the other exercises here, because one of them, again, is just this whole thing of negative thought patterns. Changing those and rewiring those takes time, so don't beat yourself up over it, okay? Just little steps. Breath work is another one that I focus on in here, and for this one it is just focusing on the in and the out. I'm going to have a lot more breathing techniques available for you, and in the next workbook that's coming there will be video to go with 2 or 3 of the exercises, and I'm also going to have a guided visualization for them to download. And the breath work is, again, just wanted to cover this in this video because some people feel very overwhelmed by talking about breath and they're not sure where to start. This is an intro one. So the main thing is that your child needs to be comfortable, and I would always start off with working with a child with this. I wouldn't just give them an exercise and send them off, regardless of how old they are. And you can start this really young. So I was doing breathing work with my kids when they were about 4, just not forcing it, just making it very, very fluid. The main thing is that they're comfy and there aren't other distractions. So the telly isn't on, you know, somebody isn't shouting out for dinner, that you've just got a few minutes that you can just either sit or lie down, however they want to do. They can lie on their side. If they want to lie on their side, that's fine. Just make sure that they're comfortable. If at all possible, make sure that part of their body is connected to the ground. I'm going to talk about this further, but grounding is a really big thing for breathing and mindfulness. It's feeling that connection to the earth underneath you, and it can really help you when you're trying to focus. But all I want you to do in this exercise is just talk them through. So breathe in and out. You don't have to worry about nose, mouth, anything like that. Just let it come naturally, and it's a really great starting point, because one of the things that happens when we're in any state of stress or anxiety is we breathe here, shallow breaths, which is why children can feel lightheaded and things when they're really anxious. And what we want to encourage them to do is start to breathe lower through the lower diaphragm. And if you just allow that to start happening naturally, then in our following exercises that we're going to cover on the platform and in my private Facebook group, which again, love you guys to join, is taking that further. Okay, so we can start to develop that breath work. But to start with, just being aware. So you're just going to go in, out, in, out. What you'll notice after a few breaths is that you'll slow the speed, and you'll notice them slowing. And that's what we're aiming for, that instead of a rapid, which is what happens when you're anxious, that breath starts to deepen. When that breath deepens, it has a really instant physiological effect on the body, and the heart rate lowers, the adrenaline stops flowing, okay? And we start to go